Folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I know a lot of you are going to say that the video that you posted a few hours ago, there was a glitch in it, and I know that. I made a mistake, and at one point in the video, my mic cut out for a minute or so. But you can still watch it and get all of it because, well, I do this sometimes. I kind of sort of repeated the most important parts of what the mic cut out on. So if you just watch it and push through the dead silence, and then right after that, the things that I say, because I'm talking about the Bank of International Settlements at that point in the video, but I kind of repeat most of the important stuff, so listen for that. But it's all there, and you get the gist of it. You're not really losing a whole lot. I was gonna redo it or edit it in, and after watching I thought, well, I've said everything that I really meant to say, so it's there. Just kind of push through that minute and a half, but there's some very good information, and I think this is one of those major things that aren't getting talked about a lot, so I suggest you watch that. It's the video title is something, this black swan may mark the end of it, or maybe the end of all, whatever. If you don't watch it, then you don't watch it, whatever. I want to talk about some news because there's some things going on. This is our news brief for the day, and there are some pretty serious events, as there are every day, and as it's continually building. So we're going to move into that, and we'll go ahead and show you what we have going on here. We're going to just start off, swinging right out of the, bat here. We've got the biggest news, I think, for today. Moscow blames U.S. after blast kills 2 at Russian oil refinery. So, as of Thursday morning, their time, there was a large blast at one of their big oil refineries, and 2 Russians were killed, and they're blaming the United States. Now, I'm not saying that they have conclusive evidence. It may not be that they believe the United States was directly involved. Maybe they believe we were indirectly. But, and maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. It would be no different that if an oil refinery exploded here in the United States. I mean, we would definitely be suspecting it could be the Russians. They may be retaliating against us. So, this is very serious. Now, if they have any, and I wouldn't doubt it if we were somehow involved, okay? That's just because that's how we do things. That's how America does things. But they are accusing of the U.S. of orchestrating Ukrainian attacks on Russian targets after 2 people were killed early Thursday from a massive blast of oil refinery near the Siberian city of Irkutsk. Probably totally butchered that name. And so they're blaming the United States for this. They go on to say, if I can find it, let's see. Oh man, I had it just a minute ago and now I've lost it. But they're saying that the United States is getting. Here it is. Washington will not be able to evade complicity in the terror unleashed by the Kiev regime against Russian civilians and absolve itself of responsibility for the death and destruction caused by American weapons and American tip-offs. Okay? I'm not going to... This intel that I was given the other day, I can't verify it, so I'm not going to say this is absolutely true, but I was told by... I felt a very, very good resource from people, and this came from, so I got it like third hand, but it came from someone that's a boots on the ground in Europe, and that we are using stealth drone technology to spy into Russia and relay that intel back to Ukraine. Don't know if that's true or not. May not be. Don't take it as my, take my word for it, okay? But it wouldn't surprise me, is all I'm saying. So this is it's just every couple of days, it seems like, is another escalation. The tensions are building, and I think a lot of people's, their mind is at what point is this gonna blow up, okay? Literally and figuratively. The relationship there between us and Russia is definitely going downhill fast. They have repeatedly in the last couple of weeks, outright and subliminally implicated us and accused us of being overtly involved in this, that we are, not just a bystander anymore. They look at us and NATO as being, overtly involved in the war in Ukraine. Eventually, this could blow up into something bigger. So, and speaking of that, as we're just trying to poke the bear, no pun intended, Washington is ready now to send a Patriot missile supply to Ukraine. So there was a little debate on this, of doing this, and Kiev has asked for this, and after long hesitation, it says here, the United States would finally be ready to respond favorably to urgent requests from the Kiev providing the Ukrainian army with a battery of Patriot missiles. From what I was reading, we are ready to send this over pretty much immediately. I mean, this is going to be happening soon. This isn't something unless things change. This is going to happen pretty quickly. So here we are now sending Patriot missile batteries over to Ukraine. It's getting bigger and bigger. At what point are we going to be sending jets? Originally we said we wouldn't. Originally we said we wasn't going to send this kind of stuff. But now we are. I'm not a sympathizer of Russia or Putin, but I'm trying to see both sides of this. And if it were me and this was all happening, I would say, listen, cut the head off. Don't worry about attacking the tail, because right now attacking Ukraine is attacking the tail. Let's cut the head off. And right now the head is Washington sending all this stuff over. That's just my opinion. You don't have to take it for anything. Oh, shifting gears. Biden warns there will surely be another pandemonium. That word right there, that word that gets us in trouble when we say it now, as he unveils the U.S. Africa aid. Of course, he's over there promising billions of dollars to Africa to try to win Africa over from China. But China's been there for a long time. I don't think it's going to work. That's a whole nother issue. But while he was there, he maybe it's just his old man talking or what, but he said there will surely be another pandemic. It's going to happen. Remember the last time they were telling us it was going to happen a few years ago, well, a few years before the big one that we've just recently gone through, and then it happened. It's interesting that Joe Biden says this, and then just a couple of days earlier, everybody's favorite person in the world said this.
Here we are going into the third year of it, and we are still in the middle of a pandemic with the numbers that you just showed.
So we're still in the middle of it, he says. He says we're still in the middle of it. And I've been talking about this for a week or two now, that all indicators are pointing that I think they're going to try to milk this out a little bit longer. Okay, we're seeing, not necessarily mandates, but strongly worded suggestions from CDC and Health and Human Services, and then New York and LA and other places that people really need to be wearing this thing on their face. That they really should be doing it. They should be doing it through the holidays. We really should be doing it when you're around other people. And we're just seeing it kind of build up, shortages of medicine. We've been talking about that on this channel here, and case counts of the triple-demic. I don't know if that's a word you can say. It's kind of a new word. So is that going to be one of those banned words too? This triple-demic, which is the convids and the flu and RSV. And then now we've got the president say there's going to be another one. And then we got Dr. Fakey saying that we're actually still in the middle of this one. We're not even done yet. And we've got winter. We've got winter, which, sniffles and sneezes and all that stuff just gets worse. And so are they going to wait till after the holidays in and then bam, bring it down on us? I don't know, because winter's going to be rough. It's rough everywhere. We heard last week that some polls here in the United States that people were struggling. It was over half of the American population. It was something like 60-some% were struggling paying bills and putting food on the table. And here we have Canada. More than half of Canadians are worried about putting food on their table. Poll recently done. More than half, 86%, are worried that the country will face economic recession next year. So over half of Canadians are really worried about food prices. They're worried about putting food on their table. I mean, they're worried that they're not going to be able to put food on the table. They're not just, over half of Canadians are complaining about the food prices. These are the people that are really worried about putting food on the table. Like they're not sure if it's going to happen. And it's not just in Canada. It's not just in the United States. It's also, overseas. Here we are. Let's shut that down there. This is a Daily Mail. It's in England here. Warning of a Dickensian Christmas, as a fifth of Brits, so 20%, are eating smaller portions to save money, and nearly a quarter of them are rarely warm. This is supposed to be a first world prosperous nation, folks. A quarter, 20% are eating smaller. I mean, this is like the Venezuelan diet. It's so bad and things cost so much. You're literally cutting your food intake back. Not that people shouldn't do that. Most every person could probably cut back on their eating, but 20% of Britons are eating a smaller amount because of money, and a quarter of them are rarely warm enough. They're so cold because they can't afford to keep the heat on that they're cold. This is serious, folks. I mean, I know many of you are here in the United States, and you're like, that's really awful for them Canadians. That's really awful for them Englanders, or whatever you call them. But that's not America. Well, it's here in America too. A couple of weeks ago we talked about that 25% of homes in America were in jeopardy of having blackouts. Now the national grid puts coal power plants on standby as energy demands surge in cold weather. So we're going through some cold weather. It's cold here today. That's why I'm inside. Wind is just blowing, howling. It's hovering right around freezing. But man, that wind will just cut you in half. It's going to get worse. It's supposed to be, teens and 20s next week. And we have an electric grid that can't hold up. I mean, we're even hearing from countries and stuff telling people not to plug in their electric cars. Those same cars that for the last few years they've been beating everyone over the head saying that you're a bad person if you don't buy one of these electric cars. Like, who cares if, it's not that big a deal that gas prices go up. I don't even notice it because I'm driving an electric car. Those people now they're telling you, oh, well, don't use your electric car. It's the weather's bad and people will have to struggle with enough electricity to keep lights on, and so we can't allow you to be plugging your electric car in. And now they're saying, well, yeah, we know we've been saying for years that coal stuff's really bad and we got to stop using it, but now we got to turn it back on for a little bit. Just a little bit. Because if we don't, people are going to start freezing to death, because they will. In wintertime, every year somewhere, and usually a lot of places, people freeze to death. I remember once, and I don't remember the numbers, but I looked up the statistics just here in the United States, how many people freeze to death in the wintertime versus how many people die of heat exhaustion. And it's a substantial amount more freeze in the wintertime than die of heat exhaustion. A lot, many times more. And they're talking about shutting power off of people. No power, sorry. They're trying to force you not to use wood heat. We use wood heat. That's the only heat we have, okay? I mean, you're going to come take my wood stove. You can pry it from my cold, dead hands, okay? Because that's how we heat. And it's nice, it's warm, it's comfortable. It soothes you and heats you down to your bones. And it's very cheap. Well, because the fuel for it is just a few feet away out in the woods. So it's actually very, very economical. Folks, this is the world that we live in. This isn't the world that you grew up in or that your parents grew up in, that was this first world nation that was so prosperous and strong and had the abundance. I mean, we had so much that we threw away half of the food that we made. Well, close. The last statistic I saw a few years ago was somewhere around 40% of the food produced in the United States was thrown in the trash. I mean, we wasted, other than the dad that was upset that everyone left the lights on in the house. We wasted electricity because it was so plentiful. Now we're almost to the point of rationing it. We're to the point of people getting worried. To the point of people getting cold. That we're telling people that there's a good chance that you're going to run out of electricity. There's not going to be any energy this winter, and you might get really, really cold. There's all these, state and government websites that are telling people how to stay warm this year. Little tent tips and all this kind of stuff of how you can stay warm this year and bundle up and blankets in your home. Why? Because there's a good chance you're not going to have anything to keep warm by. This is the America we live in. This is the America that the Great Reset is done, because they don't want America anymore. They want to bring America to her knees. They want her destroyed, just like that they want every other nation destroyed, and many they already have. And this is the path that we're heading down. This is why I constantly tell you to become more self-sufficient. The less you're dependent upon these electrical systems and these food systems and these health systems and all this kind of stuff, well, the less that you're going to go down with them. Don't get caught up sinking with the sinking ship, okay? Don't drown that way. Get out on your own. You could still drown, but at least it's because of your own failings. But you also have a chance to survive. And that's the big key. That's why you should be getting your houses in order, preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.